Hey friends, Coach Chris here, and I'm excited today to bring you an update on where my personal business is at this year, and more importantly, how you can find these numbers for yourself. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to share a little bit about what I think led to the successes that I found. I will say, for the sake of this video, I am a little excited because it is beginning of September and my goals have been met for the year. And so let's talk a little bit about where to find the numbers, and then we'll talk about calculating ROI and then move on from there. So when you first log in here to Follow Up Boss, you'll come to this screen. If you go up here to the reporting tab at the top, and then you're going to scroll down and you're going to use this closed deal by source. Now, Follow Up Boss is only going to be able to show you as good information as it has. So you're going to want to make sure that all of your closed deals Follow Up Boss knows about and has all of the right details. But when you click on that report, you're going to come to a screen like this. And so this is just kind of my personal numbers, 470 leads so far this year. Across 16 closed deals of 4 million, and my overall commission is here. So one thing to slow down and note here in the top right hand corner, make sure this says me unless you want to see everyone, all leads unless you want to see a specific lead type, and then this year. So that's how we're calculating our ROI for this year. I'm happy to report that my ROI is up while my number of closed deals is down, and it's September, and we have already hit our volume goal for the year. So let's talk a little bit about how to calculate that ROI. I just use a ROI calculator at Google to find this one. I spend $2,500 a month in platform and ad spend, and so that works out to be $20,000 so far this year. My amount returned, I pulled from this box right here, overall deal commission. Put that there, made sure that the dates are right, January 1st to September 1st of this year. Then I'm going to press calculate, and it's going to show me the results here. So this is my gain on investment. My overall ROI is 461.55%, and then here's my annualized ROI. So those are all very positive numbers. My ROI is up. My numbers of deals closed for the year is down, while my ROI is still up, which kind of was my overall goal in a nutshell. My projections showed that I would do this in 15 deals. It did take 16, but that's okay. We hit our volume goal, and we hit our commission goal for the year. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about how we did that next, if you will indulge me here. So I'm going to add a few columns to this report, and one of the columns that I like to look at is average speed to action. I also want to make sure average contact attempts is turned on. Those are the ways that I drive my business. I set standards for these sorts of categories, and then those standards become my conversions, and my conversions become my nurtures. My nurtures ultimately become closings. And we'll talk more about that at length some other time. But something else that I just find interesting, I like to turn all of these on here for response rates. So I'm going to press update columns and kind of talk through what these numbers mean for my business. You'll see here that I have my average speed to action is 4 days. My standard there is actually should say something more like 3 days. So there is definitely room for improvement in my routines there. My average contact attempts is 15. My goal for that was to be between 15 and 20. And really my goal is to have at least a 50% response rate. So that really drives everything else. Is this response rate feeds my nurture program. And then I also want to note here that of my 53.6% response rate, 52.1% is response by text message. So when I sit down and do my check-ins, I like to look at all of these numbers, and if my percentage of leads responding ever falls below 50%, I know that I need to pick up average contact attempts and average speed to action. And the percentage of leads responding boxes kind of guide me on how I need to make those changes. So if I had more people responding by phone than text message, and I wanted my average contact attempts to go up, I would know that I would need to make more phone calls and less text messages. Or in my case, I need to make more text messages and less phone calls. So that's just kind of some food for thought there. Your numbers will vary by your market and your goals and your standards, but I just kind of wanted to share what mine are. I also think that it's probably worth noting here exactly what lead sources I found success with so far this year. So I only use the Direct Connect leads, and you can see that the Direct Connect Facebook and Direct Connect PPC are pretty neck and neck. I've got 5 closings from my Facebook leads and 4 closings from my PPC leads. And then these Ylopo seller leads, I have the same number of closings from those seller leads as I do from my Direct Connect Facebook leads, which is really an interesting change for me this year. And then this last one here is just a general Ylopo lead that came in there, and that's been where my business has come this year. So I want to talk a little bit about the tools that I use on a daily basis to make this happen. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows how to get to these tools first. So you're going to use your domain. Mine is happytohelpyouhome.com, and then make sure it just says /tools. We do a deep dive into these tools every Tuesday. Jim does a really good job of just breaking down and explaining things. So I'm going to just talk about the specific ones that I use on a regular basis, and that's the heat map and the branded market trends reports. I also lean very heavily on the new Seller 2.0 experience, but I'm going to get a little more into that here in just a minute. The heat maps, I like to use these as an answer to the how is the market question. And what I really think people are asking when they say, how's the market or how are things going? They don't care about the market as a total. They don't care about how my business is going this year. As much as they care about how their piece of real estate fits into the overall market. That's where the heat maps come in. I've been able to answer that question both in person and through text message by just showing them my personal heat map. Hey, I know you live at 123 Main Street, and you can see 123 Main Street is in the highest demand because it's in this red circle. And this is a bit of technology that I don't think a lot of my competitors, or maybe any of them, actually have. And it's a big win for me. I also like to share when I'm showing them the reports, not just the numbers, but then, hey, this is how many people are looking for your house in just my database, and here's their names and phone numbers. So whenever you're ready to move, all you got to do is let me know and put me to work. I'll call all these people right away, let them know, hey, this one's going to be coming on the market soon, and we can just kind of go from there. And so that's been a really easy way to kind of insert myself into their real estate stories when they're way ahead of when we're actually putting the sign in the yard. And then anybody who's really kind of lights up during that conversation, at the end of the conversation, I promise them that, hey, I promise I'm going to keep you updated. When is the next time you think we should talk? I never let that go longer than 30 days, no matter what they say. But I've had some people be like, why don't we talk again in 2 weeks? And then I, will go in and give them an update every 2 weeks on this heat map. And I also really like to use the branded market trends. So branded market trends is more, I use more for buyers than sellers. And if you are unfamiliar what the branded market trends look like, I'm actually going to create one here real quick. I just select me, and then I'm going to use Middletown, Ohio. This is where a lot of my closings have happened. I'm again going to trust Jim and his ability on Tuesdays to kind of do a deep dive into all of this. And if this was client facing, I would make it prettier. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to jump right into this. Now, when I am talking with buyers, my script is usually something along the lines of, I'm sure you're not ready to move right away, and that's okay. I'm just here to make sure that you know what's going on in the market so that as you get ready to move, you know what you're getting into. If you will, I'm just a guide to help you through this process. And this Market Action Index report has been really the big winner for me this year because it allows me to show them quickly a graph of where the market is going, where it's been. And if they continue to say, I'm 6 months, 8 months, 12 months out, I'm not ready to move yet, I go, absolutely, no one's trying to move this weekend. Let's just take that off the table right now. Let me ask you this, though. Where would you want the market to be when you're ready to move? Because my role here is to kind of help you time it, right? So do you want to try to buy when we're in the 50s or 60s, or do you want to try to buy when it's more like 40s to 50s? Some people say, well, I'm not going to buy until it's 30. It clearly says right there that it's still a seller's market. And I say, that's absolutely great. I put a tag in their follow-up boss, and I set a follow-up task to follow up with them on this every 30 to 60 days. As they get more ready to move through the funnel, they are going to show up on my priority lists, and that's okay. And if they don't show up there, this gives me a reason to reach out and kind of stay in touch. One of the big wins I've had this year, and this comes directly from Barry, so thank you, Barry, for the influence you've had on my business, is that I'm not trying to hit home runs. I'm just trying to insert myself into their real estate story. And then once I'm there, I'm just going to start making promises and keeping them. And all of my promises are based around communication, and that will allow me, when I call them and they inevitably don't answer the phone, I can always just text them and say, hey, this is Chris. I promised I'd keep you up to date, and I was just calling to do that. Here's the information you need by text message. And I think that has driven that overall response rate to be text heavy. My consumer clearly prefers to communicate by text message, and to be quite honest, so do I. So these tools, they look really great on your cell phone. You can just screenshot them and send them over. You can post them in your socials. You can send them Facebook Messenger. You can email them. They're just really a versatile tool that really has helped me win every day. And the last tool that I'm using is the seller's report. And now I know that we all know what seller reports are. I know that your clients are probably getting them on a bi-weekly or monthly basis already. So I'm not going to kind of walk through what they are in this video. I'm just going to kind of talk about how I use them. When the Seller 2.0 first launched, I reached out to almost everyone in my database systematically, prioritizing the people that I know better or I have more rapport with, and I just sent them a quick text message and said, hey, you'll be really excited to hear that I have some new products rolling out around your home's value and how your home fits into the overall real estate market. Since you are one of my favorite, best, pick an adjective here, since you're one of my favorite clients, I thought I'd send it to you first and ask if you could give me some feedback. This is a project that we're currently working on, and we just want to make it the best, most useful version of itself for people like you. Do you mind looking at this, giving me some feedback? And then I would send it to them by text message, by email, by both. If I email them, I'm going to text them and tell them, hey, I sent it to your email. And then if they still haven't opened it after a couple of days, I'm going to send a follow-up text message that says, hey, here's that direct link for you in case it didn't show up in your email. And then I kind of let them breathe on that for a few days, up to a week, depending on how busy I was. And then I just reach out to them and say, hey, did you get a chance to look at that report? I'd love to hear some feedback. these conversations have been not only finding people in my database that I had no idea that were ready to move, that I may have missed, but it also has given me a reason to talk with everybody in my database that has addresses. Anybody who shows up on my number 2 important list with that seller report viewed or seller report engaged tag, I reach out to them kind of with the same script. Hey, I've been sending you a couple of those reports now, and we are constantly working on it, making sure that the data is sharper and all of the buttons work. Is there anything on that you'd like to see on that report? Now, I know that I am not going to be able to add new features to the report, but I have had a few people that have responded with very specific bits of information they're looking for. And so I've been able to reach out and say, hey, that's really great. We are going to work on making sure that you have that information, regardless of whether it's in the report or not. So I have a few people that are looking at like neighborhood crime rates or school district ratings. That's not going to be in the seller's report, but it has allowed me to tailor my communication with those people to further insert myself in their real estate story. And I have no doubt that this will have a snowball effect, and I would almost guarantee at this point that next year I'm probably going to have more sellers than I did this year because of this approach. And it's the tools that everyone here at Ylopo has been really working hard on behind the scenes to make available to us. For me, it's very easy, so I just kind of want to say thank you to everybody who's working behind the scenes there, because I know it's not easy for you. But for me, it's very easy to just kind of use these in my day in and day out life, and that's how they apply, and you can see what those ROI look like. So hopefully that helps, guys. And I just kind of, in closing, one last shout out here. Jim, Matt, and I would love to sit down with you and go over your numbers and talk about strategies that you can use to find better numbers if you don't like where your numbers are at. So that we are always available Monday through Friday. We're there for office hours. You can always get on our schedules one-on-one as well. Get with your CSM to do that, or there is a self-service option online. I'll put a link to that self-service option below here in this video. So hopefully that helps, guys. If there's anything that we can do for you, if you have any ideas on things that we could do to be better, please let us know. We're here to help and excited to do it. Thanks, guys.